What's up, y'all? Hope everybody's doing well. Trevor Battle here. You already knew that, or else you wouldn't have found your way here. What? I don't know why I always say that. I always say that though. Listen, I wanted to do an about me. Who knows how long this video is gonna be? I might break it up into some different parts. Actually, yeah, we're gonna break it up into some different parts. This is gonna be the beginning stages of my path to music and ending with sort of how I started on Instagram and how I kind of got to where I am today in front of you on this screen here. So yeah, about me time. Hope we're having a great day, you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me on this Patreon platform, and let's get into it. Okay, so early stages. So my dad was a guitar player. My dad taught me everything I know because he was a guitar player. In fact, look at that mustache. Jeez Louise, can you even grow a mustache like that anymore in this day and age? I don't know. What were they feeding these kids? Anyways, I don't know what I'm saying, but this was my dad. That's the flying V that I use in like all of my playing too. He handed it down to me. And so my dad is the guitar player of the family. There's like no other guitar players in the family. My dad is a guitar player, and it came from his mother, who was a musician, singer, etc., etc. And so my dad, I was born into this world. I was born into this world, hearing my dad play the guitar, listening to the kind of music that my dad would play, which is classic rock, Hendrix, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, yada yada, blah blah blah, all of the greats, Albert King, B.B. King, Buddy Guy, blah blah blah, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, there he is, all that kind of good stuff. And that was the music that I was literally born into this world listening to because of my dad. My dad was super passionate about the music because he is in a band and has been in a band and has been in a band this whole time, and I'm part of that band now. But before that, like I said, he's been in a band since the late 80s. He's been gigging all over Southern California in the classic rock blues scene. And like I said, I was born into it, man. I got guitar lessons from my dad in the garage at like 9 or 10 or something like that. I was obsessed, before I got the guitar lessons, I was obsessed with AC/DC. I was obsessed with Jimi Hendrix. I did a book report on Jimi Hendrix. I did like all sorts of different like music, like book reports when I in grade school and stuff like that. So obsessed. It was just all I knew, right? It was like that was what we listened to in the house, and that was what so it was just like classic rock, blues, rhythm and blues, like all sorts of stuff. Soul, like my mom loved Earth, Wind and Fire, and both my parents loved the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and all that kind of stuff, man. My dad has a huge record collection, so that's where I'm stealing all my records from. Sorry, Dad. So yeah, man, I learned everything I know from my dad. So shout out to you, Dad. I love you. Wouldn't be here today without you. And fast forward a little bit, learning guitar from my dad in the garage. The first time I ever played in front of people were New Year's Eve, family and friends party at one of my best friend's house, and my dad, myself, and my best friend at the time, one of my best friends at the time, all got up in front of my friends and family, and we played Sunshine of Your Love by Cream, dude. Also, School of Rock was very popular. I think at that time it had come out in the early 2000s. Could be super wrong on that. I'm not really sure, but I remember seeing that and being like, dude, I want to, like, on top of already loving it. Anyways, rambling, side note. So that was the first time I played in front of anybody, family and friends, New Year's Eve, Sunshine of Your Love, Cream. And then eventually, my dad, like I said, been gigging around all of Southern California, Northern California. And so my dad had this gig at a place called the Backwoods Barbecue, Corona, California, off Green River Road, baby. And that was a gig that I could go to. It served food, so and it wasn't 9 to 2 a.m. It was like 7 to 10 maybe, or 8 to 11 or something like that. It was manageable. My mom could take me, and then we could like kind of cut out before it got too late. So, and they had an arcade, dude, for kids. So it was perfect, dude. They had arcade for kids, pool tables, and full bar, and all that stuff, and good ass barbecue food. And anyways, so we would go all the time, watch my dad, and eventually one time he got me up there to play a song, but I didn't play a song. I played the riff to Crazy Train, Ozzy Osbourne, Zakk Wylde. over and over and over again. I was super nervous and I was super scared, but I've been playing guitar. I've been told by my friends and family that I was inclined, and things came like easier for me than what I was noticing. My friends, I had a couple friends that tried to play guitar, and they eventually didn't continue, or I knew of other people who play guitar that everybody basically told me that I was like a little bit more inclined or whatever, and I was like, cool, I don't know, it just, other than doing school, this is the only thing that I seem to understand, because eventually, yeah, school was. So, although go to school, kids, I did get my degree, so hey. Yeah, so from there, lost my train of thought, because I was telling you kids to stay in school. But eventually, after doing that little stint with my dad, doing the crazy train thing over and over again, he prepped me and kind of taught me more lessons and more songs to be able to come up with the band and sit in for a couple of songs. So from there, it became, we'd go every Saturday night to the Backwoods Barbecue, or every Friday night, and we would go and hang out and play arcade games, and we'd order barbecue food, and I'd be with my friends, and my mom and whatnot would be with their friends, and then eventually would come time for the boys to sit in, and every Saturday or Friday night, I'd be up there playing 2 to 3, maybe 4 songs a night, and my dad would let me keep the tips. So here I am being a super young teenager. Like I said, at this point, I'm probably in between. I did this from 11 to 13, and I was getting tipped. They would let me, whenever we sat in, I would get to keep tips, whoever came up. And of course, we're young kids, so it's oh, give the kids the tips. And then all the people want to give tips because it's a young kid playing. So I was like, cool, dude, this is the craziest feeling. The rush of playing live, and feeling like the rock stars that I've always looked up to. And then I get to go to school on Monday with cash in my pocket from playing music. What, dude? So from then on, it was just that. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life, hands down. From there, like I said, I did that from 11 until about 13, maybe 14. And then high school hit, and Ghost Town, crickets, dust collects on the guitars. I was a high school kid, right? I just turned 15. Guitar wasn't my main priority. I was starting those pubescent years, if you will. And I just wasn't really down to be that vulnerable in front of people, I guess. I was, a lot more nervous and things like that. I also played a sport. I played ice hockey, club, traveled all the time. So that would eat up 4 days out of my week and a weekend. And I skateboarded a lot. I was I'm obsessed with skateboarding. Southern California, right? What are you gonna do? So eventually, the guitar started collecting dust, and I just sort of was my parents didn't really think that I was ever gonna, do anything with the guitar. Excuse me. And it wasn't until, I don't know, it was in high school where, maybe later in high school, junior year, maybe senior year, I discovered, backstory, I was, really I was with the skater kids. We were all up into 60s music and all sorts of different music, because skate videos had the best soundtracks. So watching skaters skate to All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix, all this kind of stuff, being exposed to more and more just cool music, and really digging into 60s music, and Woodstock and Monterey Pop, and just loving all that stuff, just loving it as a high schooler. And from there, I found the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. That is a mouthful to say. And discovered Mike Bloomfield. And from there, that lit a spark in me, and I basically couldn't go without having the guitar in my hands. Mike Bloomfield changed my life with 100% certainty. I can say that. If it wasn't for discovering Mike Bloomfield, I wouldn't have felt such a deep connection to the blues, and I wouldn't have figured out all of the universal truths of music, in that everything comes from the blues. And I found that through Mike Bloomfield, because here's a guy doing all sorts of different traditional blues style music, and then there's albums like East West, and the song East West, where it's this jazzy fusion of blues and jazz and free music, and sort of an Eastern feel, different, cultural side of blues and what you can do with it. So I just started understanding that, blues and that style of music and this tradition is sewn into the fabric of American culture and American society, and all of the great music that comes from this Western nation, if you will. And so, my mind was blown, like it is right now. I'm saying all that and I'm like, whoa, dude. So yeah, from there, I just was woodshedding every day. I remember also seeing a clip from Eric Clapton saying that he didn't go out. He didn't go out from like 18 to 21. He wasn't going out with friends and drinking in clubs. He was literally locked in his room practicing and woodshedding. So I took to that like in my my later high school days, kind of my like, 16, 17, 18, all the way to like, pretty much today. I just woodshedded, dude. So I went from like not playing the guitar at all in early high school to like to ending high school just literally obsessed with the guitar and just constantly playing, man, and just constantly playing the blues and figuring out the blues, watching blues documentaries, finding whatever I could get my hands on that was the blues, whether it be on YouTube or Google or my dad's old records or whatever, just, being immersed in it. Also, mind you, my first guitar that I ever purchased, or that my dad helped me purchase, my parents helped me purchase, was an Epiphone Les Paul. It was one of those like $200 ones. It's not even like a sunburst. It's just like a all deep red with like a little burst right in the middle, right? And in 2003, my dad took that to Buddy Guy's Legends Club and got it signed for me by Buddy Guy. So like I said, that's 2003. That was however many years ago that was by now. What was that, 18 years ago? 18, 19, 20, 21. It was like 18 years ago almost. So that's my first guitar. And I was like, oh, like, are you gonna go to Chicago? Like, will you go get my guitar signed by Buddy Guy? And my dad was like, I mean, I'll go to the club, and if he's there, yeah, I will. And so I just wanted to tell that story because you can imagine, so like, this is just the life that I grew up in. I was like, however old I was in 2003, and being like, I'm 28 now, and being like, oh, please get my guitar signed by Buddy Guy, because I was like, that's who I look up to, kind of thing. But like, wasn't deep into the music, but just like, I knew that my dad loved Buddy Guy, so I loved Buddy Guy, kind of thing, So I've had, my first guitar was signed by Buddy Guy. I'm so blessed. I keep it in a dark, dank closet. It doesn't see the light of day. I never want that signature to ever fade away. So yeah, I've been in this music my whole life. I've just been deep in the blues and deep in blues rock and classic rock and all this kind of stuff, man. And I've been just on a search for blues. Stay tuned for part 2. I'm gonna dive into some bands that I didn't actually play blues in and toured with for a while. I'm gonna dive into the kind of music that my dad and I play to this day. And I'm gonna get into kind of a fast forward to now, how I got up on Instagram, how I gained the small, I wouldn't say small because I feel like a small fish in a big pond, but I'm so thankful for everybody. How I gained all the friends, connections, and followers on my Instagram page, and how I gained some opportunities in that regard up until right now, and what the future's bringing. So again, you guys, thank you so much. I know this video has been going on for a long time. I tried to shorten, this is only part 1, so thanks for sticking all the way through. This is gonna be available for both light and heavy bluesins. So make sure to go check this out and let me know what you think, okay? You guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Love and appreciate you guys. And stay tuned for part 2. Peace.